Welcome to the MadTrio podcast. This week we have the California Pariah, Jonathan Charney. We have James the Fat Man Stevens and Ryan Corpus, Delecti Preston. And in news that I'm not sure if I'm excited or horrified by, we have a new Spawn. According to the website Bloody Disgusting, never heard of it, but
is Todd McFarlane involved?
There should be. Yes, yeah. Isn't a.
He wasn't letting that baby go. Remember?
That's right.
RFR days.
So Jamie Foxx. Spawn love stories begin 5 years ago when the star told movies.com that he was aggressively pursuing a role in the Todd McFarlane directed comic adaptation of Spawn is 1 year.
Ooh.
And Mike Tyson said, Fox, those are two roles I would just love to do. I'm aggressively pursuing them. Mike Tyson?
That's what I'm wondering. Are we talking about Mike Tyson or Jamie Foxx?
It says Mike. Well, let's see. It said,
I mean, is he going to have?
Or is he? I think he's talking
Keith
about
David?
Jamie Foxx wanting to also play Mike Tyson.
Let's see. He was aggressively pursuing a role in Todd McFarlane directed comic adaptation. Spawn is one of them. Yeah, and Mike Tyson. Oh yeah. So he's saying he'd like to play Mike Tyson.
And Mike Tyson.
I don't think Jamie.
Which he'd be fucking great as Mike Tyson.
I think he's a little. I think he'd have to gain a little bit more width. Because Mike Tyson,
that's not a problem. You can do that either through CGI. I mean, look what they did with fucking the first Captain America, making what's his face look all skinny and shit.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that's true.
But I mean, you also.
I'm just saying, and then look, Jamie Foxx is not above some Mexican supplements. You know what I mean? Like there might be a little juicing in the Fox's future.
So I'm trying to think.
That's a lot of juicing, honestly.
I'm trying to think.
And isn't he taller than Mike Tyson? I think he's taller. What are you going to do? Shave his feet off? Oh, shoot him off at the knees.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's movies. They always make Tom Cruise look tall. Come on.
No, blow his kneecaps off.
Well, they're going to make everybody else stand on apple boxes.
Make him walk around like Cotton from King of the Hill.
Yep. Thank you for catching that.
I was thinking,
he killed 50 men.
I was thinking, I think this is a bad choice, but they had, was it Malcolm Jamal White as the original? So, I don't know. It could be an improvement. It could be worse. Really depends on which way they take it. Is it going to be closer to the cartoon, which was a badass?
I just want the voiceover
I think
to be
it's,
Keith David.
For for the fucking record, it's Michael Jai White.
I know who he
is. The guy who was the first.
Close enough.
I just wanted to fucking.
Urkel.
Close enough. You called him Malcolm Jamal White.
At this point, I'm doing it on purpose.
Malcolm X, Jamal, Martin Luther King, White. How racist can we get now?
No, I just compared.
And I think you need to stop copping out on the I'm doing that on purpose. I don't think you're doing it on purpose. I think you legitimately accidentally say somebody's name wrong. And then you try to convince me that I'm just fucking with you guys.
Yeah, I know he's doing it not on purpose.
Hey, I'm sticking with a shtick if it's on purpose, whether you bastards believe me or not. It's really
not about
my
believing
problem.
you. It's just about calling you out. Finally, I guess.
Bullshit.
I just think that at this time it's habitual, and you can't help it. You're like a junkie.
So Deadline says the new Incarnate has Fox playing Al Simmons, a member of a CIA Black Ops team who was betrayed twice. Okay, so that's the backstory. After being set up by his cohorts to be murdered. With his corpse set aflame, Simmons is double-crossed in hell, and he's convinced to become a Hellspawn warrior. In exchange for blah, blah, blah. So it sounds like it's just a standard reboot.
Yeah. I mean, what do you expect them to do?
Which is it's probably better than relying on the 90s version at this point. How many people saw it? I don't know how popular that movie was back then.
It was not popular. It became kind of a cult thing after a little while. DVD had its life. I think it had a bit on cable, but I mean, look, the people who are looking forward to a Spawn already definitely know the origin story, but that's kind of what they want to see. They want to see the not fucking lame ass version like they did before.
Well, okay. As far as I know, Spawn was in the 90s. As far as the people that I knew, wasn't really one that they went out to theaters for. It was more of a mosquito. It was more of a thing that they went to later on, like on VHS, kind of at home type shit. And most of us were like, "What the fuck is this?" Because we all knew the HBO version.
Yeah, it's almost crazy because how bad it is.
Oh yeah, it's still horrible. I actually rewatched it just to
Oh,
kind
but
of
dude,
see.
you had John Leguizamo playing fucking
Exactly.
Violator though.
But
that was
the best part of that whole entire film. Like, I want to see him do that role again.
So that movie,
bring back John Leguizamo.
I would say that movie's on level with Billy Zane's The Phantom on how bad it was.
Yeah, but I mean, you had somebody in there who did a fantastic job with the role they were given, John Leguizamo, which, I mean, I still love him as that. Like, every time I see the clown,
it was
perfect.
just such a unique performance, man.
Yeah. Oh man, it was nailed it as far as how the clown was.
He did an amazing job, but he was the only redeeming character in that.
Yeah.
So did you guys hear?
Yeah, who was it Martin Sheen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think was the bad guy in that.
Yep.
He played the guy who was playing along with Hell.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
God,
So
I mean, that movie was so shit.
So did you hear Roseanne was canceled today?
Dude, I was gonna bring that up right now. This is the craziest thing ever. It's not the craziest thing ever. It's just incredibly unfortunate. Like,
she trumped, except Trump doesn't drink. He's just
So,
naturally does
yeah,
that.
Wouldn't it be a Mel Gibson?
Here's what basically happened. Okay, so a while back, she had talked about like how she was joking about how her kids had taken away her social media, because they, presumably were like, okay, mom's getting a little nutty on the Twitter. We're gonna have to, take this shit away from her.
Can somebody do that to Trump?
But obviously,
Secret Service
I know, right? But somebody,
putting that out there.
when they of course got the show
rebooted.
What's the word I'm looking for? Rebooted. Thank you. She jumped back on Twitter because, of course, it's a great way to promote your show. You reach a lot of people. She's pretty famous already. People kind of know her for being a little bit of a nut, so a lot of folks kind of followed her just for that reason. Ironically, or coincidentally, grows macadamia nuts in Hawaii. So I hate to make the nutty pun, but holy shit.
Honestly,
I think she does all the time. But so check this out. This is what happens, okay? She gets the show rebooted. Everybody's having a great time. A lot of people are working again. The show, ABC's loving it. They're bringing in a ton of ad revenue. She tweets out about one of Obama's chief advisors. I don't remember her name. But her initials, I remember, were like AV. And so she tweets out...
Valerie Jarrett.
Yeah, AV.
Valerie what?
Valerie Jarrett. She was the child of the Muslim Brotherhood.
AJ.
VD, you mean?
So do you actually want to say what she actually tweeted out?
You know what? I was actually almost about to not say it because it was. I mean, she basically tweeted so really. Like, you can't call it anything other than racist. There's not really like a joke behind it at all. It's nothing that. It was just like, what the fuck is that about, man? And ABC within like 5 fucking hours was like done, canceled.
So what she said, to put it as delicately and as delicately as possible, Roseanne said that she's the child of the Muslim Brotherhood and a primate, which is in any era is a racial slur. You can't. I mean, nobody would joke about that. Ever.
No, it's way too blatant. I mean, it's just like, man, like nobody could kind of believe it, and there's no, like I said, there's no couching this as a joke or anything like that. But ABC's response to just immediately pull, and they're pulling all the episodes off of streaming sites. Anything that it was, it's like, we're distancing ourselves as quickly as possible.
I mean, there's one thing you don't do is screw around with a mouse.
Well, I'm just kind of thinking, I mean, they didn't even do that up against Harvey Weinstein. I mean, they took a while.
Yeah, but the difference really
is... Yeah, well, that's actually a lot of the criticism. It's interesting what's been coming out as far as like, oh, yeah, it's interesting how long we took with Kevin Spacey and Harvey Weinstein for these things to sort of roll out. But I think that was like, is this really going to happen? Are we really implicating this person?
Were they involved in anything with Disney? Well, here's my question.
Well, yeah, ABC is Disney.
Spacey, yeah.
Well, because if Weinstein was involved in Disney, then I would
think so.
then I would be surprised, because Disney is very. Disney truly is the dark side. I mean, if you do something like this, you're dead to them. I mean, this is practically the Godfather move.
Unless you
No,
support
she committed career suicide with that one tweet.
But the most amazing thing is she was extremely controversial in the 90s. The only difference between then and now is how politically correct everybody was. 20 years ago, everybody would have just said, everybody would have said, hey, this is racist and whatever. Yeah. I think it's just the political era.
As far as the TV shows at the time, I mean, Roseanne and Married with Children were the two that a lot of parents weren't really supportive of. And I mean, I never would see Ed O'Neill ever coming out and saying that shit like this.
The only thing is usually I'm not pro PC at all, but this is actually one move that I'm like, yeah. I mean, you should not. There's a lot of things you could have made fun of Valerie Jarrett for. But this, no, I'm sorry. You cannot get away with this. This is the definition of racism.
Did he ask for her birth certificate?
Obama's
here's the real fucking tragedy in all of this. Obviously, that woman she's a grown person.
She's a very big
grown ass fucking woman. She will be fine.
She's worth $80
it's more
million.
like, okay, now we know what type of person, Roseanne is. But here's the fucking tragedy is there's a couple hundred people at minimum who were working on what was presumed to be an incredibly hit television show, and it was probably going to be edgy and great and the kind of thing that ABC was really sort of banking on, just as far as ad revenue. But all these people, all these producers, fucking writers,
and actors,
the co-stars, that are like, what the fuck, man? It's like, thanks, dick.
That's the thing I don't understand.
I'm sure that's what they want with thanks, Dick. I'm sure they had other things to say.
I don't understand it. I mean, you've got a lot of actors on there who haven't had a whole lot of paydays since Roseanne. I mean, the only ones that I know of who work consistently is Sarah Gilbert, because she's on like the Chew or the Toxins from the morning talk show.
Yeah.
You got
John Goodman.
Who
did quite a bit after Roseanne, actually.
And that's really about it.
John Goodman is fucking killing it, man. I love that guy.
What was that one that he was in with Kevin Smith, that he was the FBI negotiator or some
Red
shit?
State.
Yes, Red State. That was a fantastic role for him.
So
I
that was fucking kind of a cool ass movie.
Yeah. So the thing I don't get is why wouldn't you think about? I don't understand. Why wouldn't you think about this? The fact that you really you put a lot of people out of work. I mean, you put at least 200 people out of work and literally wasted a ton of money, because they're never going to release this series now.
Oh no!
Disney's just gonna vault it.
I mean,
so you're losing
be
DVD
like,
sales.
Songs of the South to you.
You're losing you're losing syndication money. Hell, Candace Cameron Bure is getting
and
like
you know
$10
what? And I think here's what's really interesting about the ABC decision. First of all, they're Disney.
Oh yeah.
ABC. I mean, obviously the parent company is Disney. So they obviously have enough money to fucking throw around. They can cancel or keep whatever the fuck they want at any given point. No one's gonna tell them otherwise.
Still don't.
They can cancel their highest rated thing. You don't fuck with the mouse.
And I think this was their biggest hit.
That
this
was
season
point
too.
number one. But point number two is like, look, man, there is no such thing as too big to fail in this business anymore.
Yeah,
which is a great message to be sending.
Yeah,
even back, like I would say. Even in the 90s, if you got caught in something that was ridiculous, they would have canned you. I
don't know. Pee Wee Herman still had stuff going on, and I mean, his thing was pretty ridiculous.
Well, the problem is the Pee Wee Herman show was actually canceled by the time he actually got caught in the theater.
True.
And he hasn't done a whole lot since then.
And I mean, compared to some of the other shit that happened in the 90s with stars, I mean, Pee Wee Herman didn't do anything bad. He jacked off during a porn movie? Come on.
I mean, to quote, was it Robert Wool? He was a comedian at the time, and isn't that part of the cover charge?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's guys that are paid to clean that shit up.
Remember back in the 90s when everyone was railroading Tim Allen?
Oh, yeah, that guy too.
What were they doing?
What was it, a DUI or cocaine or something?
No, cocaine.
Yeah, but that was way before he started even doing comedy.
Yeah, the cocaine was like an arrest from way back in the day, I think.
Cat coming in?
Yeah. But he also, I think he got caught drunk a couple times, if I remember right.
I want to say it was like a DUI or something. But they went as far as to try to like blackball that dude.
Yeah, they did.
So
they tried. They failed.
Here's a question:
thankfully.
Can she do what Mel Gibson did? I mean, Mel Gibson's still a little bit of a pariah, but he's done Hacksaw Ridge. He's done a couple of movies that I don't know if he's back in the good graces, but he's definitely back in the spotlight to some degree.
Well, here's the thing about Roseanne is Roseanne has kind of been a nut for a little while. And I think they're going to chalk this up to hey, fool me twice.
Yeah. Oh.
I don't what's up?
Okay, yeah, sorry. I was actually looking up Tim Allen and it talks I guess like last year he finally came out and started talking about his time in prison. So I forgot that he did do that hat from the cocaine before he became a big star. But yeah, he was also arrested a few other times. But
a lot of people are mad at him because he narked out all his friends.
Yeah, whatever.
I don't know. I mean, I'm more bummed the fact that you got a lot of people who are missing a payday now, because this easily could have been on for another 5 years, because they're really doing a retro reboot of TV shows, which is a weird thing to do from 90s
Oh man,
TV
and people were loving it. You know what I mean? It was kind of geared towards sort of a middle America crowd, but there's not a lot on TV for sort of the conservative viewpoint. You know, middle America in general. I mean, so I get where they're coming from. You know, I mean, it definitely wasn't my cup of tea because I'm not a big sitcom fan, but that's just me.
Well, I mean, I enjoyed Roseanne back in the day. There was a few episodes I actually really liked.
I was happy there was something for middle America.
Roseanne back in the day was fucking cutting edge back in the day. It was.
I really do think she's a woman out of her era, because 20 years ago, I think she could have gotten a little bit more away with it by having some sort of long-winded explanation. Now, I don't think you can get away with it because of how the political atmosphere in society has evolved. You can't do it. I think whether better for worse, which I think it's better with the race now than it was then, you just can't get away with it.
Oh wow! Darlene
I mean, it's not about
well.
getting away with it. It's almost about what the sort of the American public is kind of willing to accept is just like, hey man, like not fucking cool, dude.
Yeah, no, I think getting away with it is the wrong way. I'd say tolerated. I don't think it's tolerated
kind of
a lot less.
It's sort of a voting with your dollars sort of a thing. You know what I mean? Like nobody wants to be in business with somebody like that, and that's their prerogative. So,
and you can't blame.
It's not about making the moral judgment. You know what I mean, about whose viewpoint is right or what ideology or whatever. It's not about that. It's just like hey, you know what? Collectively, certain things are shitty.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's an agnostic choice. It's solely based on money.
Yeah. So what I was actually going to mention is I found this interesting. You guys might as well. So this wasn't a reboot of the show. This was a continuation.
Yeah, that's right.
So it wasn't a reboot. Right. It was like the next season finally happened.
20 years later.
It's actually 20 Years to Life is the name of the first episode. So, but yeah, I was looking at it. I mean, there's like 8 actors in the first episode, and then with the writers and the other cast, I mean, they're losing a lot of jobs, and that's pretty sad.
So here's the shows I think they're going to reboot. I'm saying they're going to reboot Grace Under Fire, ER, because there's not enough hospital procedural shows. Mad About You, they're actually going to do.
Wings.
I liked Wings, but I hope they don't.
Dear John?
I liked that show, but even I vaguely... No, they're going to have a Mr.
Night Court?
I'm thinking Mr. Belvedere.
Okay, Mr. Belvedere is pretty
even though the guy who played him's long since
I was going to say he's dead,
and
that'd be interesting.
And that guy who was the voice of the Indians, I think at this point no longer does it. Not Bob. Is that Bob Eubanks? Bob. Okay.
Oh yeah, Bob Eubanks. He's still alive though, isn't he?
Yeah, but he's like 90.
Yeah, but I mean, I thought the
Bob Eubanks, the guy that did the, wasn't that the guy that did the Rose Parade?
Yeah, it's Bob. He's the guy who is the radio announcer for the Cleveland Indians. I can never.
That was the radio announcer for the Cleveland Indians?
Yeah, to the guy on Mr. Belvedere.
Was that Caroline with the cat?
Yeah, that you mean with. This is great podcasting, by the way. Great radio as we're trying to.
Actually, I think it was at the A. I was doing the.
I didn't know the fucking Bob Eubanks, the soft Rose Parade guy was a radio announcer for baseball.
If it's the guy I think it is, Hold on, let me actually look it up because I'm pretty sure it is because he was in all the Indian movies. You know, the one with Charlie Sheen, the guy who was the announcer in the movie. That's the guy. I'm pretty sure was.
Wait, in the movie Major League?
Yeah, he was the actual voice of
the
the
guy
Indians.
the guy that was actually in the movie.
Yeah, because he was also in a TV show called Mr. Belvedere with all the.
Okay, that's not Bob Eubanks.
No, it's
okay. The dad from Mr. Belvedere.
That's it. It's Bob Eubanks.
God, I don't.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I think you saw
I knew
that
it was
long.
close. Bob Eubecker is an American former Major League Baseball player, current sportcaster, comedian, and actor. See, I just didn't remember his...
Oh, Mr. Belvedere died in 2001.
Yeah.
But he was 80, so I mean...
Yeah, see, sorry. I mean, I knew it was Bob.
Anyways.
But
I'm thinking that everybody at home, go look up Bob Eubanks. That's the guy that I thought John was talking about.
That's
and
actually
I was like, wow,
That's actually who I said, because like that's got to be right. But as soon as you said, I'm like, no, that's not right. It starts with a U. I'm thinking they're gonna try to bring back After MASH, even though most of the cast at this point has passed away.
What?
So you've never heard of After MASH?
No, I have heard of After MASH, but that made sense
why
back
the fuck
like
would they bring
30
that
years
back?
ago.
Well, they're gonna have them in they're all gonna be in a.
they had enough spin-offs.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus
There was only one
Christ.
true spin-off of
Yeah,
of
but
MASH.
I mean, there was other ones too.
Not
Yeah,
with the
what was it?
original cast.
The Trapper John M.D.
I don't think that had any of the original the characters. Though,
Yeah,
did
but
it?
I'm just saying that's still
No,
considered
it
a
was
spin-off,
a different Trapper John entirely.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there was. I don't know. They didn't need that many. Didn't what's his name do something too? Radar? Didn't he do something?
He
after
was
that
in
too?
after a couple episodes of After MASH. He's done a lot of stuff, a lot of animal TV shows he did on like local PBS stations.
I still think he was talented to ship the Jeep home.
I really loved MASH. I actually have the entire series of MASH. It's one of my favorite TV shows. And the most amazing thing about MASH is how it evolved from a comedy with a laugh track to a dramedy with no laugh track.
Yeah, true.
I mean, because you don't generally see TV shows change genres that dramatically. Because if you watch McLean Stevens, who was the original
Oh, gotcha,
Colonel,
yeah.
because the Colonel Potter, it switched that way. And then when you went from Frank Burns, don't remember his real name, to the guy who played Charles Emerson Winchester, the whole series just switched.
Yeah.
Like almost to 180, far as a lot of comedy, a little bit of drama, to a lot of drama, a little comedy.
Yeah, it did kind of take quite a turn. Yeah.
And I think kind of
Colonel Potter, that was Harry Morgan, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
I loved that guy.
Yeah, he's a great actor.
Oh, that guy was fucking awesome.
Yeah. So, trying to remember. Yeah. So some thieves, I guess, sometime May 23rd, decided to walk away with $3,396 in quarters.
Wait, repeat that. How many?
3,396,000 quarters.
How do you walk away with that many quarters?
That must have weighed a fucking just a metric ton.
There's a little video of them actually stealing it.
So it was with that little car?
Yeah. I mean,
there's a video. It's on. So this article's on UPI.com, and yeah, they pull up in this little like econo box. How did they get this thing to move after $300,000 in quarters? $3,000. I'm sorry.
Quarters, not dollars. Quarters.
How? That's a lot of weight, man.
Yeah.
So just 3,000 quarters? $3,000?
3,396,000 quarters.
Oh, 300. Yeah, damn.
3,396,000. Yeah.
Wow.
Dang. I bought an Xbox all in quarters, and that was like 20 pounds.
Yeah, I'm just like, what about this? Like, I mean, were they expecting to get a couple $100, and all of a sudden they're like, holy shit, just keeps coming, and they just took it all?
I guarantee.
I mean, like, what was the thing in there? And I mean, like, you could actually see them, like, one of them standing up to them. Oh, sorry.
I can't see it now. I guarantee one of them made the coin.
One's standing up to the machine, and the other guy's like watching, expecting somebody to show up to stop these guys.
He looks like a bumblebee. He's wearing a black shirt with yellow stripes, it looks like.
I mean, I got nothing on this. I mean, that's just some...
By the way, do you think they made like the Vegas sound? Jing, 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 jackpot! You know?
They probably did.
Because I totally would have.
I mean, where are you going to go
I would
to
have
cash all
tried
that
to
in?
dive in it like Scrooge McDuck and probably broken my neck.
Yeah, I'm just like, where did you guys go to cash this in?
You know what they did? They probably went to their work and just started using it in the coin machine. You know,
Yeah.
like, ooh, I'm gonna buy lunch today.
I mean,
Two.
don't they have gambling out there? And somewhere in Florida, they got to have some type of gambling out there.
Pinochle.
Oh no! I mean,
homes?
look, I'm telling you, Coinstar. It's anonymous. You can just give everybody like 5-gallon jugs.
And you can
Here,
buy all your.
go take this, spread it out. You know, drive-aways. Don't do it all local.
Yeah.
And you can give 10% to your local grocery store.
Yeah. I mean, they
That's-
do that
Exactly.
as well.
I think that's hilarious, by the way. But damn, that didn't. That's a lot of. Somebody had to see him. I mean, that's a little ridiculous.
It's just one of those things. It's like, I really want to see these guys try to run away with this.
So
You know?
I got to warn you, my next news story is a little bit political. So if you don't like our political opinions, make sure you turn it off. But I just think this is hilarious. Britain
For the
judge.
record, everybody, we're fucking stupid as shit. So take that for what it's worth.
So
Das Bucha.
this takes place in England. Knives are too sharp, and filing down is a solution to soaring violent crimes, judge says.
Wait, what?
So basically, the judge is saying that knives are too sharp, so we need to round the point, the tip. If you didn't know, London, if I remember correctly, they actually passed New York in the amount of violence happening there.
So wait a
They
minute.
got quite a bit of stabbings going on.
So they're going to take all the knives and remove the edge?
So this is from the telegraph.co.uk. A judge has proposed a nationwide program to file down points of kitchen knives as a solution to the country's soaring knife crime epidemic. Last week, in his valedictory address, retiring Luton Crown Court Judge Nick Mage spoke of his concerns that carrying a knife has become routine in some circles and called on the government to ban the sales of large pointed kitchen knives. By the way, I think I'd rather get shot. Being stabbed to death just sounds like a crappy way to die.
Well, I also got to say, being stabbed to death with a dull knife is a really, really bad way to go, too.
Now,
I'm just throwing that out there.
You're not fucking kidding, man.
by the way, that's like that reminds me of my favorite line from God damn it, Kevin Costner's Robin Hood. You know, it was John was talking to his cousin. And he says, "I'm gonna stab him with a spoon."
Oh,
he's like,
yeah.
He's like,
I
"Uncle,
know I'm
why?"
gonna carve his heart out with a spoon.
Yeah. And he's like, "Why a spoon, Uncle? Why not a knife? 'Cause it'll hurt more."
You idiot. Yeah, I just...
If I remember my history correctly, one of the reasons we have standard flatware is because the royalty and other members didn't trust a bunch of people with a lot of sharp knives. Therefore, you got kitchen utensils.
Rounded butter knives.
Do you?
I could still kill you with a butter knife.
So minus the fact that we're Americans and I've carried a knife on me almost my entire life. Do you think this would actually stop it?
No. Not at all.
I don't think so, because if you're not a law-abiding citizen, you're not really going to pay attention to it.
Yeah, so I mean, so what the UK did was they banned firearms for public usage.
You can still have firearms. There's firearm clubs.
Yeah, you have to be
there
in
are
a
ways you can own
firearm
firearms.
Club. You have to pay a monthly fee or subscription with them to maintain your gun there, blah, blah, blah. You can still get access to it, but you have to use their shooting range and blah, blah, blah. Anyways, but they basically banned all firearms for public use to stop gun violence. What happened? Bladed violence goes up. I mean, with swords, there's sword violence, there's daggers, paring knives.
So the
and
latest
other shit. So you ban that too? What the hell?
So the latest
There's
figure.
to stop people from killing each other.
Granted, we're Americans, so we are coming from an American
give
point
a
of view. So latest figures show
You want the
stabbing.
king coming around here and pushing you in the face? You want the king to walk into your home and start pushing you around? What would you do about that?
There's not a king, there's a queen, and I'm pretty sure if she tried to do that, she might break a hip. She's
She'd still
90
do it.
years old.
Is she?
Latest figures show stabbing deaths among teenagers and young adults have reached the highest level for 8 years. Knife crime has rose overall 22% in 2017. That's a hell of a lot of stabbings. I would be curious what the percentage of stabbings from the United States to England is. Because just based on how big America is, there's more stabbings. I mean, what do you think,
to see
Ryan?
what LA matches up with England or Chicago.
If there's a comparable city, like say
Flint,
New York,
Michigan,
New York to London, I'd be curious on the violence levels. But what do you think,
Detroit.
Ryan?
He's scared of the King of England.
Yeah. I almost think this is just like a troll judge who's just. I mean, honestly, it's
a joke.
You can't. I don't want to turn this into like what would tantamount to be a gun argument or anything like that. But you can't nerf the world. You know what I mean? Like people are going to be bad. They're equal parts malevolent, benevolent. Good, bad. I'm not necessarily a big believer in the word evil, but yeah, like that one. But there's really shitty people out there, and if they want to do something bad, I mean, 10 minutes on a grinding stone ain't gonna make the difference. You know what I mean? It's a silly thing to mandate that kind of, because where does that stop? I mean,
well, because we're having the same argument in the United States with guns. So the question is, it's the same question.
Well,
how would you?
Here's the one difference I can say right off the bat, though. I've carried a knife for a long time. It's a utility for me. You know what I mean?
Well, it's the expedient level.
Well, the amount of time I use that I'm not stabbing somebody.
Well, it's the level of expedience. I mean, just sheer based on the way firearms work, using a firearm to kill somebody is faster, and it's a little bit safer because if you're going to stab somebody, you have to be right there, unless you're using William Wallace's sword, where you need 3 hands to swing it. So you do have
I'd
that.
walk around with the claymore if I could.
You do have the fact that a firearm has more force behind it than any sort of knife you're going to wield. But I would also say using a knife is a more personal and bloody way to kill somebody, though. I mean, wouldn't you say? I mean, using a firearm's kind of impersonal to some degree.
I mean, if you're accurately going to kill somebody, yeah, it's going to be bloody. I mean, you don't want them just to bleed to death, which is going to happen if you just do short stabs, if you don't go for any type of artery or anything. I mean, or heart. I mean, you can go through the eye and get the brain. I mean, there's lots of ways to kill people with a knife.
I don't know. I think that's fascinating. They're basically they're having a weapon argument there.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's been a weapon argument with knives for the UK for a few years at least now, probably longer.
So have you guys heard anything about the Solo movie that came out last weekend?
As far as I heard, meh.
No.
That's really what I heard is just MEH. Meh.
That's exactly what I've heard. I've heard anywhere between I loved it to why did they release it in May?
To me, it's kind of like, I mean, well, I gotta say, the Rogue One, I actually liked it because it really tied in the first episode.
I have yet to see it.
That was released in the 70s, not the first episode 1. But I liked it because it kind of gave you that type of thing with Rogue One. This one, I really don't give a shit. I mean, that's honestly where I'm at. I really don't care.
Well, here's my question then. Is it because of superhero burnout? And more or less, you could probably say it's in that kind of same underdog, blah, blah, blah story as a lot of superhero movies are.
No, I just really don't care about Han Solo's precursor.
You see, I kind of want to see
really
it.
Where
And
I'm at.
I'm a fan of Ron Howard.
I mean, I'm a fan of Ron Howard, too. I mean, I always like Opie. But as far as I'm concerned, it's just meh. I really have no desire to rush out to see it.
Ryan?
I'd rather go see Deadpool.
I mean, what do you think, Ryan? Since you seem to be pretty quiet this time.
Well, no, I wasn't. It'd be an interesting story. Hey, it's a how these people met kind of thing, and that kind of stuff. But it's not going to be Rogue One. You know what I mean? Rogue One was telling sort of an integral part of the universe.
Because it's between.
And this is sort of like, hey, the adventures of, you know what I mean? Like I almost think of it as like a young Indiana Jones kind of a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, look, it's going to take place in the Star Wars universe, so I'm sure I'm going to dig it because I'm a sucker. But I'm not. I mean, like I said, I'm not looking at it like it's going to be a Rogue One kind of an offshoot. I mean, that thing was fucking fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I actually really enjoyed it, and I'm not that big of a fan of Rogue One in comparison to the original 3. Just fuck y'all with a precursor 4 or 3.
The last prequel, the last half I liked.
Of what?
Of the last number 3.
Oh, of the precursors?
Yeah.
Okay.
The very last half of it, when you got to see Anakin turn to Darth Vader, I liked that because at least you got to see the evolution of that character.
Well, okay. So I was watching the show, The Toys That Made Us, and they were talking about the Star Wars toys that came out that were basically rushed because George Lucas took his sweet ass damn time to pick a toy maker to make the Star Wars toys. And so when he released the original 3, those toys flew off the shelves. And I think it was Hasbro that got the
Hasbro.
Yeah, Hasbro.
Not Hasbro.
I don't give a shit.
They make weed accessories.
I don't know. I'm trying to pull you.
It's Hasbro, not Hasbro.
I'm just mispronouncing
like
everything on
Marlboro,
purpose,
you
Ryan.
smokers.
I'm mispronouncing everything on purpose. Anyways, so they
Crippled
were
bastard.
basically saying, okay, when he was he was releasing the precursors to the first 3, they were banking on all those toys coming out and making millions, billions of dollars off of it. And so when he released them, there was really no demand to go and pick up a Jar Jar Binks. And they were saying, well, as far as what they did with the original 3 is all political game.
It's a question. Was there anybody really wanting a Jar Jar Binks?
No, they actually,
which is
they
probably
actually were doing. They even mentioned it in the show that they were basically taking a big ass bin of just non-desirable toys and putting them out for like pennies on the dollar.
Which, by the way, has to, in my humble opinion, as a CIS white guy, has to be the single most racist character in Star Wars history.
Yeah. So, anyways, but they were mentioning that the first 3, the episode 1 through 3, were basically political intrigue and telling you how Anakin Skywalker became Darth Vader, and it wasn't as interesting of a story as the original ones that came out.
I thought it was
true.
Well,
but
I didn't think it was interesting because the adults weren't the target audience. It was obviously aimed at kids, which was one of the reasons I actually thought was the downfall of it. No, I think you could have played the line better, but the first one was obviously for kids. I think the second one was a little bit, but it basically tried to grow up with the audience that originally watched the first prequel.
The second one, the only good part is like literally a minute long when Yoda goes buck against Count Dooku. That's it. And I mean, even that wasn't that great, honestly.
Oh, come on. The pod racing was the shit, though.
And maybe, really?
No, he's talking
shit.
shit.
Oh, no, the pod racing was awesome. Fuck you guys.
No, pod racing sucked ass.
Come on. That was the only good part of that movie was the pod racing.
That's episode 1, by the way.
Okay, by the way.
I know. What were we talking about?
I was mentioning episode 2, and you brought up pod racing, which is the
Ryan's technically not incorrect. It really is the best part of that movie. The problem is
now the best part of the Attack of the Clones. There was a couple of cool little parts of the war. Yeah, the Yoda going ape on Dooku was pretty good.
I mean, everybody was waiting for that part.
But when Obi-Wan went to what was it? Was it Geonosis?
Yeah.
The planet where he got he discovered the clone army.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I really dug that part.
Are you talking about when he fought? Why can't I think of the goddamn?
He was on the hunt for Boba Fett.
Yeah, Boba Fett. Not Boba Fett. There is a difference. There's the clone that was basically the whole thing, which is Bubba. Anyway. Boba Fett, and then there's Boba Fett.
I need to watch 7 again. I haven't seen it since it came out. I want to see how I like it.
Empire?
The Last Jedi?
Yeah, I haven't
The Last Jedi.
I haven't seen 7 since it came out, and I haven't had time to watch 8.
Oh no, The Last Jedi's 8. Episode 7 is the one with fucking Rey.
I couldn't remember the name of it, honestly. It's the one where the really
A New
bad.
Hope. No, that's the first
Spoiler alert! It's the one where Han Solo dies.
Yeah, Force
really,
Awakens. Thank you.
Really
Jesus
badly.
Christ. Whatever. Anyways.
I mean, he didn't. Well, he got stabbed, but I mean, the acting was really bad when he got stabbed.
Wait, what? What are you talking about?
When Han Solo died.
Oh.
That was the worst acting in that whole movie, and I thought that movie was full of bad acting.
Yeah. I mean, Chewbacca did fine.
True.
I mean, his lines were pretty good. I actually dug him.
It's really hard to screw up that.
Oh, it's easy. Have you heard people try to do Wookiee sounds?
Come on,
They
it's all pre-recorded. Basically, the guy in the costume's miming everything. He's a pantomime.
He's a tall pantomime. He's a really tall guy. I mean, he almost makes Jaws look short. You guys know who I'm talking about? I'd be impressed. Anyways, yeah.
But he has to be in water.
Are you even trying today? I mean,
oh, really? By the way, Daniel Craig apparently signed on for another Bond movie, and apparently this time it's all about the Benjamins, because he's doing what Steven Tyler did by signing up to be an American Idol. He wants the payday, which, by the way, can't blame him. Bond's got to pay.
I mean, are they actually gonna name this one like Payday 2, Paycheck 2, or whatever? You know.
I don't know. That's a good question. They got to come up with a money
at least
thing.
Daniel Craig's a good enough actor. He's not going to just phone it in. He's going to do his job.
Honestly, he could totally phone it in, and I'd still watch it. I mean, it's Bond.
Phone it in?
I mean, most of the Bond movies I thought were phoned in. In some sense of the way, look at
I could give you that.
Look at the last couple of Pierce Brosnans. I mean, he was obviously.
Oh my gosh, really?
He was obviously looking for a payday.
Hey, you know what? As far as I'm concerned, GoldenEye changed the gaming universe forever.
GoldenEye was amazing,
for sure, no doubt.
I mean,
GoldenEye was amazing, but the reason why
credit's due.
Yeah.
Well, the game. It was the programmers who actually made the change. It was just the fact that it was titled after a Bond movie.
I mean, it was fantastic, though. I mean, everybody who grew up in the 90s knew how to play GoldenEye.
Oh, hell yeah.
I mean, everybody. I mean, if you didn't, you were gay. Even gay people did.
We here at the MadTrio show apologize.
Okay, fine. Queer. You were queer.
We here at the MadTrio show officially apologize for anything any of our co-hosts says and has nothing to do with at least two of the co-hosts. It's all on him.
Die, you fucking Nazi scum.
Please leave all the comments towards James, Stevens, you, and
Are you opening up the comment section again?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's actually kind of our copyright, you know. So as the MadTrio back, prepare to leave angry comments. Just make sure it's all to
I'll
him.
sit on you and fart on you.
Jeez, you've watched
if
too
you're
much.
Really lucky, I might shart.
You've watched way too much South Park.
I was actually thinking of Rafiki, but all right, whatever.
Right. Jeez.
So, a guy in Ohio decided that it would be a great idea to get rid of his weeds with a blowtorch. Can anybody guess what happened?
Shenanigans.
The county next to his county called the cops that somebody was smoking weed next door.
Well, this is at 4 a.m.
His neighbor got stoned.
They received a phone call at 4 a.m. that this guy had caught his entire garage on fire.
What was it like?
I mean, did he forget to turn the fucking thing off?
Where was it like that video of the cops standing around burning all that weed and they're all swaying in the wind as they get high as kites? I mean,
well, I don't know what kind of weed it was, but it probably wasn't the happy weed.
Oh, that means they all got a hangover.
So James, it's been probably a decade since you've smoked weed. Any plans in the future now that it's legal?
No. No, I'm just gonna go do some wax with John.
Oh, there you go. See, I finally upgraded my weed smoking game to wax. I said I'd never do it because it felt like some fucking. Like, it actually made me feel like I was doing drugs.
So the question...
Like, no, this is too close to meth. I can't get behind this.
So did you say any lines from Breaking Bad as you were taking your first hit?
No. What?
You said it was like doing drugs. I figured, you're quoting like, Heisenberg.
Nah, he's a Jesse Pinkman
No,
fan. Science, bitch.
Yeah, I just kept yelling science, bitch.
The fuck is I gonna write? I don't even remember what the fuck is gonna write.
Oh, God.
Well, I try to write the description as we go, so I don't forget everything as we go on fucking tangents.
Interesting. The re-release of one of the best films ever made trumps all other DVDs released this week. Peter Pan, 4 stars. It has been 65 years since Walt Disney Studios released first released this animated version.
Wait, are they re-releasing the animated?
Apparently, they're releasing that one.
Okay.
I'm sorry, this came up because the way Disney does things, didn't they just release it a couple of years ago? But I realized, wait,
well,
it's
they
Disney.
release it for new generations is kind of how they try to do it. But it's the same.
Yeah,
movie.
they go with the whole moratorium deal, and they stop releasing movies for like 15 years.
Yeah, and
The
then
film-
they release them again. And it's
The film is being re-released as part of the Walt Disney Signature Collection, joining Snow White and the Seven Dwarves. Well, dwarves. Beauty and the Beast, Pinocchio, Bambi, The Lion King, and Lady and the Tramp.
Okay. My only question is, are they going to re-release The Lion King without that bullshit watering hole song?
I haven't seen the newer version. Maybe it does.
I own it, and it has it in there, but it was like, I think it was like 15, 20 years ago that I bought it. So
well, maybe the new one does
re-release it soon.
I still want to know if Disney's going to release the unrestored version of Star Wars.
That would be nice.
So here is something I heard on that. I was reading a couple of years ago. They actually cut up George Lucas cut up the original negative in order to make some of the newer movies. So they're saying he said that the original negative isn't in the original order. But how hard could it be to resplice
somebody could resplice it though, right?
That's what I was assuming. And there's got to be copies of it. I mean, nobody has just one negative. There's got to be a couple around, wouldn't you think, that you could do that
I wouldn't be surprised if George Lucas
somebody's got to have an old print somewhere worth a fucking small fortune.
Because a couple of years ago, it's probably 5 years, they did release a Star Wars on DVD that had an unrestored version. Basically, it was like a VHS rip. What I want is a cleaned up version of it. I want...
every 4K version.
Yeah, I want every pixel cleaned up. I want all the noise. I want like a modern day 4K Star Wars that's the original, not the special editions.
Right.
Like the Criterion Collection version.
Agreed.
I still disagree with you, Criterion bastards, on some shit.
Hell, hey, you're welcome to. But one of the reasons,
actually, quite a bit of shit.
One of the reasons why I want to see it is because I love what they had to do back in the day to make it work. There's a scene with that sand speeder. They couldn't make the wheels disappear, so they rubbed Vaseline on the screen. There's tricks like that I don't like the fact they make it disappear because I know it was there from my childhood.
Yeah.
So that kind of bugs me. And George Lucas is a bitch.
And you know what? It's funny is the actual fucking Vaseline on the lens of the camera. It kind of gave its own effect, you know what I mean? Like movie magic back in its day is its own art form. Yeah, it's like you can't repaint over the Mona Lisa because you have better paint now.
Well, the thing about it, like when I was a kid, when I first saw that whole section, it was kind of like you kind of thought that there was some type of floating force thing that is pushing against the ground or anti-gravity shit to make it kind of look like that. So, there was some
that's why I thought it was cool.
It.
That's why I thought it was cool as a kid. When you saw it, I'm like, oh, cool, you can see, the force field or beams or, name your sci-fi thing.
Yeah, and that's really what it was. And I mean, it's just kind of like, there's a speeder.
I think this goes back to the old argument we had in Real Flicks Reviews was the fact that you should do traditional effects and traditional filmmaking along with CG because it makes it look better when you can combine all those versus having the Hobbit movies, which was Taste the Technicolor Rainbow.
You just need to be really high.
Or that Wizard of Oz movie with James Franco that was either an LSD commercial or you need to buy a 4K TV commercial.
I wasn't really bothered by that film. It was kind of cool in its own effect.
I still love the doll. That living doll was my favorite effect. That was cool.
Yeah. That was pretty cool. I actually do agree that there was some really cool things about that film, but I mean, it was
still a bad movie.
Yeah, I wasn't saying it wasn't.
Yes, you were, man.
No, you love it.
Yes,
you love it.
God, does anybody have any other topics or things they want to bring up?
No, I just read those couple stories about the idiots. That's basically what
I just said my piece about Roseanne. I'm good.
I still don't believe she did that. I mean,
I'm not surprised.
What an idiot.
See, my question is, she did a Trump, but Trump doesn't drink. So the question is, was she sober when this, or was she like, smoking weed? Was she drunk off her ass?
She was probably smoking some weed.
She was snorting wax.
No doubt.
Snorting wax.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of how well that would work.
I don't know. Roseanne, give it a go.
So it's like a great
Well,
way
now she's got time to write her
manifesto. She's gonna.
Yeah. Oh God, that would be horrible.
She's gonna write her memoirs, How to Kill a Career.
It's one page.
Ladies and gentlemen, for Jonathan Charney, James Stevens, and Ryan Preston, as always, thank you for listening.
Goodbye.